Okay. Well, I'm here now with Emerson.
Hello.
Emerson. I hope it's okay to mention you were formerly Nothing Media, I think.
Yeah,
You were involved in that, and now your current channel is Emerson Non-duality. Is that right?
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And is it okay to give your? Well,
Yeah.
you don't really have a website, but
No, no, I don't.
but anyways, I guess you can go to that channel if
Yeah.
people want to know more about you. Um, I want to start with talking maybe about Emerson, the character before,
Yeah, for sure.
maybe as a child or during growing up, and not like personal history, but maybe personal feeling. Like, did you have a personal feeling of, let's say, anxiety or neurosis, or how was it for you?
This is all just a story, but the character Emerson, as a child, was a pretty happy child, and then probably had a bit of anxiety and depression towards 20s and 30s, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Was that a reason for you to start? Were you a seeker, I guess? Do you feel like you
Yes,
were?
there was a seeking for happiness and liberation, and that 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 thinking that there's always got to be something better than this, other than this, right? And that was a recurring kind of like a statement or question, growing up, is like there's got to be something better than this. There's got to be something more to life than this. And it caused a lot of I guess a lot of internalized depression.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. And then, if it's okay to say, you became maybe a teacher
A spiritual
after.
teacher, yeah, yeah. The seeking was really intensified, that, and I think at that time, the best way to learn, I guess, is to be a teacher, to be constantly teaching whatever, spirituality, meditation. So it thought that it found meditation as a way um to avoid, or just to see something other than this, right? It's always looking for something other than this, and meditation did that.
Hmm.
Yeah. To
Yeah.
find that peacefulness, to find that whatever,
Hmm.
right?
And then it's fair to call you a speaker now. To call you.
Yeah.
I know it's hard to say whatever, but
Whatever, yeah.
um, yeah, because I'm trying to find to find your language. Oh, and I really like your term, dreamlish. I think that's yours.
Dreamlish, yeah, yeah. So this is all dreamlish, yeah.
I'm trying to find the way to speak dreamlish. So stupid. I'm sorry. It's so kind of like ridiculous sometimes. I know, but uh, so now it seems like you've come, or it's come to a different flavor of the resonance, and
Resonance.
or I don't want to say understanding. Oh, okay, let's use seeing, of the seeing, different flavor of seeing, and I'm more attracted to the, what do you call, radical,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and maybe that too is the case with you.
Yeah, well, it's radical is just another word, right? And what's trying to express the naturalness of this. So it's not really that radical because it's very natural. It's all that there is this. It's the wholeness of everything. Radical is just a departure, I guess, from spirituality. A lot of people, tend to, see non-duality as a spirituality, and what's being expressed is really not spirituality, because it does not talk about being or spirit or soul or all that kind of stuff, right? It's just expressing that all that there is this.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right. Because it goes to seemingly like,
So it's really
It, but
natural. Yeah, it's really,
yeah.
it's but to some it might sound really radical because, they go into a little bit of magical thinking of what this is, and it comes into there's nothing wrong or right about that. And it comes into this imaginary kind of like almost like Disneyland of what enlightenment is. So what's being expressed is that there's no one that will ever get enlightened because there's simply no one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
goes back to that.
yeah.
And also, like sometimes the me goes underground. I think I've heard it say it goes underground or it transforms, like you're saying, it transforms into, uh, yeah, like I've heard, maybe you say is spiritual, and then not only a spiritual person, but the most spiritual person,
No, it just
like
becomes
that.
was some when there is an understanding, when there's a knowing of what's being talked about, the me takes a hold of the understanding or the knowing, and it goes underground and thinking that it's a no me, thinking that it has transcended the me. And what's being talked about is nothing about that at all because it's not even about knowing or understanding or getting or attaining or becoming. It has nothing to do with any kind of movement because what's being expressed is that all that there is already perfectly as it is. And there's nothing that needs to be acquired, attained, or changed because
Hmm.
nothing is changing because there's no time. So there's a misunderstanding, which is completely all right. It's just what is, right? That this is something that could be understood, could be attained, or could be um, acquired. Something that can happen to someone. And when it's being spread that there's never been anyone here, there seems to be so how do I get there? When a speaker usually said there's no one here, there's never been anyone here, and they'll say something like, I know what you're saying, but how do I get to that state? So this is not a state. This is not about a position or any kind of levels or whatsoever. It's just what naturally is that there's never been a me in the first place. There's never been anyone here. And it's just an exposure or an illumination of something that's quite obvious already, but it's not quite obvious to the one that's seeking because the seeking wants to seek something that's other than this. It goes back to what I was saying. There's got to be something else. There's got to be something other than this. There's got to be a different dimension or a different understanding or a different knowing. What's being expressed is that there's nothing outside of this. All that there is this. So it seems really radical, because the seeker would usually go to practices or understanding or knowing or trying to acquire knowledge. What's being expressed is that it's already available because it's not available for everyone. It's already free unconditionally.
And it seems like that because there is an opening to hear whatever. Because if I hear whatever it is, it's
Yeah.
happening. So, but in the preference that maybe it has is the preference of hearing the me. Like they talk about a lot about the me and how it's not really there. So what do you think about that? Like it seems like there's a focus to the me, and I don't want to say why, but I kind of want to hear your take on that. Like why?
Yeah, because there's this perceiver that thinks that it's perceiving, it can perceive something else, or it can understand something else. So when the me becomes the focal point, it becomes a reinforcement of that focal point, which is I am here, I am going to get this, the me will drop away, the me will get this, the me will disappear, the me will fall away. Any of that is just basically a reinforcement of the me. What's being expressed here that there's no me, but the tendency when it's being pointed out that there's no me is how do I get rid of that? How do I
Yeah.
it becomes kind of like a how to.
Hmm.
Although what's being expressed is it's already is that there's no one here, but there's this looping kind of like mechanism of the me of creating the story of how to get there and how can I do this. It just basically reinforces that narrative that I am here, that I'm real.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's almost like and I've said this before. It's kind of like a a lie that getting repeated. It's a believed thing that that it's almost like a brainwashing. The me
Yes.
is that I am here, that I am doing this, that the world is going through me. Is kind of like almost like a cult like
Hmm.
belief. So this is
Yes.
actually the the zapping of that belief system that there's no one here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the way you put it in one of your talks. You were talking about the circus. The circus is a circle, and it's like the never-ending loop of seeking, the never-ending loop
Yeah.
of knowing, the never-ending loop of circling.
Yeah. Yeah.
I, I really enjoy that. Um,
It is. It is. It's just this never, it's just this loop, the cyclical pattern of a story, repeating a story to maintain a story, and it becomes a circus, right? It's just this kind of like this, almost like this play, and you can never get out of it because a circle will just keep on circling. But when you see that there's no you that's seeing this, that it's just what's happening, that's just automatically happening, that it's just a self-looping mechanism of something that never really is, then it's seen that what's being seen as a circus, a show, or whatever is just another illusion. So the illusion is seen, but you can't get out of the illusion because the illusion will just keep on running the illusion, because that's the illusion that this is really happening, and there's a you that it's happening to.
yeah, and it does become. I mean, there's a lot of laughter too, and sometimes it's taken the wrong way, right? But the laughter is because of that, like because when it's kind of, I mean, the cosmic joke, the oh, you mentioned that in the circus there's clowns, and there's clowns,
Yeah.
there is clowns,
Circus is everything. There's yeah, it's just a
tigers.
show. Yeah.
You said there's elephants.
I can't
So
remember what I talked about.
it was beautiful what you talked about.
The way that I create my talks is kind of funny because I don't really know what I'm talking about. So I'll just put in a title and I'll just expand on that title. It's kind
That's
of like
awesome.
when I'm DJing, when I put on a DJ set, I'll just say, hey, this is going to be dark, or it's going to be light, it's going to be romantic, or whatever. And whatever comes out from that thing is just what's happening. It's kind of like freestyling. So when
Hmm.
when I talk about circus, I really don't know what I'm talking about. All I see is a circus sometimes. When there's a whole bunch of narratives about what's happening, it becomes there's a lot of clowns trying to express something that's inexpressible. And then all I see is a jokester, kind of like, oh, they're really joking, really? That there's this awareness, being aware of that, or all that kind of stuff, abiding. It's just seen that there's kind of like the big tent is exposed as a just this circular thing that keeps on happening, putting on a show and understanding something that can never really be understood, or landing into a position that is never really a position.
Yeah, there's never landing.
No, how can it?
Yeah, yeah, and so in that there's an illusion. There's a mirage, and I know that you try to point it out, and or do you, or is there trying
No
to
one's
point it
pointing
out?
it out, but what's just being expressed is just an illumination that what seems to be happening is not really happening. What seems to be real is not really real, but it's happening simultaneously, and no one really knows. So the seeing here is when this apparent seeing and happened here, there was an unraveling of all of the beliefs. There was an unraveling of everything that was held on to. There's an unraveling of all the lineage, all of the knowing, all of the wisdom, that thought that it acquired, because what's seeing is this intimacy, this immediacy of everything just happening all at once. So
Hmm.
there's really no history for anything to happen to, or there's really no basis, or there's no really lineage, there's no path, there's no journey to
Yeah,
get here, because here is not really here.
yeah,
This is just a happening that's not really happening. And no one knows it, So when someone kind of like comes in and comes from a place of knowing, what it sees here is that that's coming from an illusory sense of knowing, because no one knows. Everything that's being expressed here is really unknowable, because what's seen as the one that knows was never there in the first place. So who knows? And who
Right.
cares?
And who cares? Yeah. And who cares? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, all of these
like,
words really are just really muddying what's really clear already, right? That this is just apparently what's happening, that there's no time. Since it's not, there's no timekeeper, there's no one here, there's never been anyone here. All the ideas of Eligio and Emerson are just coming out. So this is really emptiness, just the really boundless emptiness that's appearing to happen as the moment that there is a knower, there is a believer, and there's a seer, and there's an audience, and all of this separateness, right, is just really wholeness appearing to appear. Like there's a beach there, and there's a gray wall here. There's no really gray wall and no beach. Well, literally, because these are all virtual backgrounds, but everything is actually just a virtual background. This is really
yeah.
just a blank canvas. All of this is appearing as this myriad, or this colors and this thoughts and feelings and everything appearing in emptiness. But there's really no one appearing in it. It's just all of this seemingly really clear, empty, blank canvas that is getting muddied, but all of this stunning, illusion or mirage of something happening. But when you have that together, when all of the things are happening simultaneously, it's a clear, undeniability that it's not happening to anyone. It's just a happening.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like the drama. Sometimes the drama of it.
Oh yeah, it's cool.
Like, the
Yeah.
drama of before it was more dramatic maybe, but the drama of dying before you die, all that bullshit.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, it's a lot of words like that. Like if you go a little dark, it's about dying and killing, and if you see a Buddha, kill him. You see a Buddha in your path, kill him. Things like that. That was kind of attractive to me. Hardcore, hardcore non-duality. That's attractive.
Yeah,
But you
hardcore
do it in a way
non-duality
you
is just
smile.
a it's just an intense illumination that there's nothing happening. So it it's basically an interrogation, right? Interrogation into a character that the character is not really there, a character that has never been there. So what's being illuminated in a hardcore way is that there's never been really anyone here, and all the ideas that's parting out, that's coming out, all of this narrative, all of these dreamlish that seems to appear, it's just not really happening. It's like I use the dream analogy quite a lot, and this is like a dream. There's no one dreaming this, but this is like a dream, meaning that in a nighttime dream, everything that seems to be happening, the beach over there, the gray hole over here, the person over here, the person over there, is really not happening. It just seems to happen. It feels completely real, but it's not really happening, kind of like in a nighttime dream. And that's the obviousness that's seen here, that everything that seems to appear and feel completely real is also not real, because there was this dropping of a belief system of coming into any conclusion that this is really happening. So it's just a play. It's a
Yeah,
fun play. Or sometimes it's dramatic play. Sometimes
yeah,
it's very intense. Sometimes it's just very light. But it's just a play.
yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, sometimes it's not pretty, sometimes it's not nice.
It can be really shitty, so
It really can. So it doesn't go into that idea of, okay, when I get this, then everything it'll be uh, rainbows and butterflies and everything will be fine.
that's the
It's
biggest
some,
BS ever. Yeah. It is
yeah,
not that. Yeah.
yeah.
See, there's
So,
this romanticized idea of what this is, right? And it doesn't help that in the story, in the dream, that there are some apparently wise sages that got this, and there are some, teachers that seem to really articulate this in a way, but all of that actually is coming from the dream. So anything that comes from a dream is still a dream, including this. The only thing that I can really expose that is that this is a dream and nothing is really happening. You don't need there's no you to need anything, but there's no need for any kind of knowing or knowledge or wisdom in a dream. There's no need for practices, abiding, or any of that in a dream. So if
Mm-hmm.
this is an illusion, so who gives a fuck? You know what I'm saying about the illusion? That's the hardcores because there's no one here that can do any practices that can has any free will, has any kind of
Mm-hmm.
anything at all. So it's
Mm-hmm.
just basically a light playing with light, and that's really what is happening. It's just this play of apparent images that's not really happening at the same time. A play of apparent ideas, a play of apparent narrative, a play.
Mm-hmm.
It's like really believing in that Saturday morning cartoon that you see when you're a kid.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
immersive. It feels like it's really happening, but what's being exposed, it's not really happening to anyone.
Yeah.
And the seriousness comes in, and I see some of this seriousness with the non-duality crew, you know what I'm saying, of the policing and all this kind of stuff. I just sit back and laugh and relax and just, kind of like look at it. And I'm like, what the hell are they, or who are they really talking to? If there's no one here, who the
Right.
fuck cares?
Who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
And there's no one, and there's no one out there, and there's no one out there
No,
that can give you anything or
no,
teach
no,
you
no,
or whatever.
no, no, no. There's no
Yeah.
one out here and there's no one in here.
Yeah.
There's no one anywhere at all. And 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 it's kind of funny when some non-duality teachers or speakers talk about that there's no one here, but there's always a but. The
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
one here is just a full statement. If there's no one here, period, there's nothing happening. There's no free will and choice. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to attain because there's just no one here. And then
Mm.
even that idea of, that there's someone here is just seen as an illusion. But there's this felt sense of realness that there's this happening to someone. But when it's really seen by no one, when it's really kind of like really exposed for what it is, the radicalness in this and also the naturalness of this is that there's never been anyone here. And it's just really plain to see.
Yeah. So tell me about this. You say this is
This can't be
this.
explained.
What about that?
That can't be explained.
This that. All right, let's go a little silly here. Okay, so let's go sillier. Uh, let's focus on. All right, so if you were a Buddha, what kind of Buddha would you be?
uh, a cat Buddha, a laughing Buddha.
A laughing Buddha.
No Buddha. There's no Buddha.
No Buddha.
Yeah, but just the I like the big bellied Buddha because it looks like he had some
Uh,
debauchery.
yeah. I mean, I would like to. I would like a skinnier Buddha. I mean, I would prefer a skinnier Buddha.
The Buddha, the big bellied Buddha looked like he had a lot of fun, a lot to eat. So why not?
Maybe that'd be.
We're all heading that way anyway.
Let's see. I don't know why I wrote this question down, but is this enough?
What's enough?
This.
Oh, there's contentment here. So yeah, I guess this is
Yeah.
enough. Whatever is. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
contentment here. Going back to what I said earlier, there was this character that wanted something better than this. When it's seen that what's better than this, and even that, that is seeking for something better than this is already empty. So it's
Hmm.
looking for emptiness, right? So everything that appears is already empty. Everything that is seen, heard, felt, understood, wished for is already what it's longed for because it appears in everything. Then it closes the case.
Hmm.
Then there's contentment because the one it's basically a cold case because
Yeah.
the person that's seeking it is dead.
I like that
Yeah.
cold case. Yeah, I like that cold case. No, did you feel like it was an unwinding for you, or was it a sudden,
It was a
like unwind,
collapse. It was a
complete
collapse. It was
collapse,
kind of like a
sudden?
what the fuck. It was
So
like,
what?
oh wow. So there's this all-purpose wow, right? So it went through the gamut of all the all-purpose wow, kind of like the wow of like, what? This is it? Bit of disappointment, or wow, it's always this, which is kind of like a stunningness. And then I was like looking around, I'm like, oh wow, this is really it. And then there's this. It just goes through the whole spectrum of wows, right? Or kind of like, oh, I never thought it would be this. It's just this, but no one is there. It's just all this automatic wowness that's happening to what already has always been this that never changed.
Hmm. Is there a memory of it, like exactly when it happened?
There's really no memory if you really
No
look
memory.
at it. All of
Yeah,
this is just appearing as automatic kind of like response to what you're asking,
yeah.
because there's no time, there's no movement. So all of this is just an automatic response to the wow question that you have there to a wow answer that I have here.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool. Let's see. Trying to see.
I like your shirt.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
I was, yeah, I was trying to decide what to do, but I decided this. I like it. It makes me
Yeah, yeah,
feel
it
like
looks
I'm on
really cool.
vacation.
I would have matched that Hawaiian shirt with the another Hawaiian shirt if I only knew.
Yeah, originally I was gonna do something different, but I decided to do this. It's a bit too
Okay.
crazy. Um, let's see here. Is it really unreal? Is it really unreal?
No one knows what's real or unreal, right? So it's just what is. So it's just trying to express something that can't be expressed. So it's not landing any position. So it's unreal and real at the same time, which is very vague if you really listen to that answer. It's basically saying that it's unknown.
I think I heard
This
that.
feels real, but it's also an obviousness that this is not real,
Yeah,
right? So it's not it can't be this or that because it's
yeah.
neither this or that. It's just this.
And it's not false.
No false, no true, because those are just ideas. They're just words, really.
Hmm.
Dreamlish.
Dreamless again.
Dreamlish are all synonyms because it's just all the dreamlish is just trying to separate something that cannot be separated. So
Yeah.
everything that is spoken about is just pointing to the whole thing that has never been separated. The only thing that's separated is the idea that there's separation. And even that idea of separation is also complete. It's also whole.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That's I like that actually. That's kind of cool.
uh, so it's you also said honest. You invented a word in one of your talks. It was called honest instead of honest. It it's honest. It's included. Um, and in that, I mean, what else is there?
There's really nothing there and there's nothing really happening. Um, this is just wholeness, and everything that seems to appear and not appear is included. So there's no distinction between this or that, or here and there, sound or silence, stillness or movement. They're all the same.
Hmm.
They're just all appearances of something that doesn't have any appearances, which is really confusing, but it's actually pretty clear, I think, right? It's looking for the visibility in the invisible. It's looking for the understanding in something that cannot be understood.
Yeah.
It's the figuring out in something that's a complete mystery. It's trying to grasp something that's ungraspable. And all of that, the grasping and then grasping, the finding out and the figuring out that something that can't be figured out is wholeness. It's
Hmm.
completeness. It's the totality of something that can never be an absolute. That sounds really contradictory, but it's not.
Well, I
Again, these are
understood.
just words. These are just words trying to circle around something that's appearing in everything.
Yeah.
These are just kind of like little kind of like it's like you're highlighting a word, but the book is everything. You're highlighting a word to point out that this is everything, but the book has 20,000 pages of nothing. It's really
Yeah.
nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. Not even blank pages. Not even blank pages.
No. Not even anything.
Man.
Not even anything at all. How can it be anything when what's being talked is not nothing or not nothing, nothing?
Well, I mean, um, sorry, Emerson. I just don't have no more questions. But I'm gonna put information about
Okay, okay.
your
Yeah,
YouTube
yeah. Thank you, man.
and the link and all of that.
Thank you. I'll post this too on the group there,
Okay.
on Facebook. Well, thank you so much for doing this. This is fun. I know that these questions, it's very, especially when when you're not seeking anymore. The question seems to drop, right? So the
Yeah.
questions are almost irrelevant because the questions and the answers are the same.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And it's almost like trying to make up questions. It's hard sometimes.
Yeah, because the questions are not even personal, right?
Yeah.
There's no energy in the questions anymore because the energy, the seeking energy is not happening anymore. It's just
Yeah.
happening and not happening. But yeah, but thank you so
Well,
much.
but I really appreciate you doing this. Thank you,
Yeah,
Emerson.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Eligio.